Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Yesterday I did a video on a letter that Senator Ron Wyden sent to the chair of the FTC, Andrew Ferguson, asking for guidance on digital ownership and digital goods and what it's like to purchase and buy and what it means to purchase and buy something in the modern day. When you buy something back in the day, it used to be you bought it, you own it, that's it. Now you buy a textbook, you click lifetime, they have the right to revoke your access in a few years if they want, and if they do, you don't get a refund. Even people in their 70s are waking up to the fact that you don't own what you bought and paid for, and people are trying to push back against it. California passed a law going over this that, in my opinion, is a great step in the right direction. However, I don't see this law being enforced. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to read you the law, I'm going to show you a clear-cut case of an offender, and I'm going to ask that if you live in the state of California, that you report the offender at the website that I'm going to show you. My goal with this is to figure out whether or not this law has teeth and whether or not it is valid. This law may have loopholes in it, or this law may not have loopholes in it, but it's simply not enforced because the Attorney General and Consumer Protection agencies are choosing to not actually doing anything about it. So let's read this law over here, and you tell me what you think. This law says consumer protection, false advertising digital goods. This would prohibit a seller of a digital good from advertising or offering for sale a digital good as defined to a purchaser with the terms buy, purchase, or any other term which a reasonable person would understand to confer an unrestricted ownership interest in the digital good, or alongside an option for a time-limited rental, unless the seller receives at the time of each transaction an affirmative acknowledgement from the purchaser, or the seller provides to the consumer before executing a transaction a clear and conspicuous statement as specified. By expanding the scope of a crime, which is a great word to use for redefining what the word purchase or buy means and taking back what people bought and paid for. It shall be unlawful for a seller of a digital good to advertise or offer for sale a digital good to a purchaser with the terms buy, purchase, or any other term which a reasonable person would understand to confer an unrestricted ownership interest in a digital good, or alongside an option for a time-limited rental, unless either of the following occur: that the seller receives at the time of each transaction an affirmative acknowledgement from the purchaser indicating the following: the purchaser is receiving a license to access the digital good, a complete list of restrictions and conditions of the license, that access to the digital good may be unilaterally revoked by the seller if they no longer hold a right to the digital good. The seller provides to the consumer before executing each transaction a clear and conspicuous statement that does both the following: states in plain language that buying or purchasing the digital good is a license, and includes a hyperlink, QR code, or similar method to access the terms and conditions that provide full details on the license. Now, I would like to go over an example that I feel is the best for this case. We're going to go over an example from a large company. We're going to go over an example from a large company that virtually every single person that's ever gone to college hates because they abuse people, and it is a clear-cut case of cutting against the spirit of the law. If you go over here to VitalCheck's website, you can go to buy a calculus textbook. Now, with my calculus textbook from back in 2007, that was a physical book. I can pass that on to my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren so they could all have a souvenir of me failing pre-calculus 3 fucking times at LaGuardia Community College. But when you take a look at this is a digital textbook, which means that it is going to expire at a certain point in time. Here, you can spend $64.99 for a 180-day license, a 1-year license for $89.49, or a lifetime license for $109.99. Now, what do you think lifetime means? In usual cases, lifetime means until you die. In this case, lifetime means half the lifetime of a fucking cicada. If you take a look down here, the only way that you'd ever figure out that this book is a book that you would be revoked access to, even if you paid for a lifetime license, to figure this out, it says nothing over here, nothing in the description, nothing until you scroll down over here to where it says this is a digital license. And then you have to click details. Now, if I'm a normal person and I'm reading this is kind of like being on the page for a Ford Mustang or a Ford F-150, and then it says, this is a truck. Details, hyperlink. I'm going to think to myself, this is an F-150. There's a picture of a truck. If you write, this is a truck, details, no shit. Obviously, it's a fucking truck. I'm not going to click on details to read that because I have no reason to, because you're telling me something blatantly obvious and then putting a little URL that says details. Here, you're saying this is a digital license. Now, this is a digital good. It is a book. So you're saying this is a digital something. Obviously, it is. I'm not going to click on this little thing that says details. However, when you click on that thing that says details, here's what you get. You are licensing a digital product for a set duration. Set duration. And over here, it says products labeled as lifetime typically mean 5 years of online access and permanent downloads to a supported device. And then it says that what is this? When you scroll down, support for download of files is tied to compatibility with VitalSource supported devices and platforms at the time of download. And if your device is not supported anymore, then that's the end of the lifetime that you have over there. This is the problem with goods that connect to the internet in order to work. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't even just say 5 years. It doesn't say that five. It says typically 5 years, which means that they have the right to revoke this in 3 years, or 1 year, or 1 day, or an hour, because it says Typically, not only do you have to click on a link that says just details, has nothing to do with it. Not only does the product page make no mention whatsoever that lifetime means literally whatever the fuck this company wants, but they're not even going to give you a definite time frame, even when you go through the terms of service. This literally means they can revoke your access whenever the fuck they want. This is a very easy problem to solve. So I buy something, you give me a PDF with no DRM, period. That's it. There's no need for there to be an application that you have to support and constantly make new versions for. So everybody's going to go out there and say this bullshit, where the reason they have to do that is every time a new version of Android comes out, there's new libraries and new dependencies and everything else. We have to update. Yeah. No, you don't. Give me a fucking PDF. But you don't do that. This is one of the most clear-cut cases of this, and virtually anybody who has ever been to college has had this experience, even before there were any sort of digital goods. I remember this bullshit where there'd be a textbook. I'd buy a used version of the textbook from last year, and I'd fail my homework because when I would do the homework and I'd fill everything out, there was the same questions, but they would be put out of order. And then the multiple choice answers would be out of order. So even though they're the same fucking questions, I'm going to fail if I do that homework unless I get a new copy of the textbook so I know what order to do my questions in. Calculus has not changed in 50 fucking years. There's absolutely no reason that you should be getting ripped off over and over and over and over and over again for it, except for the fact that they want to make more money. And if they want to do that, that's fine. If you're going to be the bitch, be the whole bitch, and write it on your page as the law says. If you were following the spirit of this law, on this page over here, next to lifetime, it would say, lifetime actually means the lifetime that we want our product to live prior to killing it. This is not following the spirit of the law, nor is it following the letter of the law. And if you live in the state of California, I'd like to ask you to do this. The first thing you can do is you can go to the Rob Bonta Attorney General's website, Consumer Complaint Against a Business or Company. You fill out this form and you explain exactly what's going on. You show the screenshot showing lifetime marketing language. You show evidence of this 5-year limitation that doesn't even have to be 5 years, that could be whatever they want. And you can reference AB 2426, which is effective as of January 1st, 2025. And if you actually bought something from this website, you can reference that as well. You can also reach out over here for the California Department of Consumer Affairs. If you reach out to both the California Department of Consumer Affairs and you reach out to the California Attorney General, and within 30 calendar days from me making this video, this website is still lying to all of its customers and claiming that you're spending $110 on a lifetime license that they can actually revoke at any given time, we will know that this law is completely and utterly useless. But I'd like to figure it out. I made this post on consumerrights.wiki a few months back. It has been sitting here for a while, and I'd like to actually try and take some of the things on this website and start doing something about them. And if you're tired of the lack of ownership in modern day society, please do help me out with this website. I am putting an honest, professional effort into everything that I'm doing here. We have a team of people. Keith is heading everything up. We have somebody developing and working on a browser plugin. We're going to put a little bit more full-time effort into that. We've got a PR person. We are trying our best to make it obvious to everybody that there is a decline in ownership that needs to end. We want to make it very easy for the mainstream media to cover these things. So rather than them having to do all the research on their own, we're going to do the research for you. We're going to have all the sources that are clearly cited. We're going to have nice little pictures of everything so that you can follow it, so that if this wants to get reported on by a major media institution or a major news outlet, everything is right here, bundled up with a little bow for them to be able to do their job and report it to the American public so they understand that this is an issue. The only way I can make this work, I have some money to get this stuff started up. I do not have enough money to document every single issue in the universe. That's where I need your help. Show up over here to consumerrights.wiki, add to the articles, improve the existing articles. If you don't know how to get started or how you can help, join the Discord. There's a link on the homepage of it where you could help us out. And if I'm not asking for your money, I'm not asking for you to donate any sort of thing monetarily, I'm asking for your time. The only way to push back against this is to make obvious what's going on and what's happening. And if you can help us do that, I'll be very, very happy. I would like this site to become something that goes mainstream. You can edit and you can create articles without having to log in. If you log in and you become a verified user, you don't have to fill out that annoying CAPTCHA anymore. But we are analyzing and looking at every single edit as they occur in real time. I had two ways I could go with this. Behind door number one, I could make it difficult. I could create barriers to people being able to post, but have it be a little bit easier to deal with spam. Or I could make it as easy as possible for anybody to edit or post, but then I have to be constantly around the clock with people watching it every single second of the day to make sure that nothing malicious happens. And I'd rather do the the latter. The latter is much harder to do, but it's going to be much easier to live with when we have a website that has far more content on it going over all these different abuses. I can't get all the stuff right by myself, but the power of the internet and hundreds of thousands of eyes on it, all sitting there going, you got this little detail wrong, or you missed this thing, going over there and editing it, that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I need your help with. Help me with this thing. I'm not here to sell you Raycons, NordVPN, Audible, any other bullshit. I'm here to try and make a difference. But the only way I can make a difference is with all of you. Because by myself, I can't do shit. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.